So hey, it's May 7th, the evening of May 7th, happy Mother's Day to all the cool moms out there. And it's 8:54 p.m. And I just had to chime in briefly here because a couple of cool things and wild things and crazy things all at the same time happening. But I kind of felt compelled to just bring this to people's attention because it's interesting. I don't know if we're experiencing a groundswell as I see the light coming down on my head like a halo. Um, I kind of feel like we're triggering something, honestly. I mean, obviously on TikTok, there's a lot of people subscribe to this, and a lot of people that tune in, a lot of people that make comments, and I'd say those that are supportive and on board and completely down with what I'm talking about are way in advance of those that are the haters. Although we do get the occasional haters, and it comes with the territory, big deal. But it was interesting. I guess there was a couple of people that were commenting on. They thought I looked like Bob Odenkirk, the guy. Better get uh, Better Call Saul from one of my favorite, actually probably my favorite TV series of all time, Breaking Bad. Although I was a little bit more intrigued with Walter White and Jesse Pinkman and some of the other guys, but definitely Saul was a cool guy. So I'll take it as a compliment. I always get um, compared to somebody, as I guess most of us do. So it'll be interesting if people think I look like some other people that have been called, that have been, I don't know, people have compared me to in the past. So that's interesting in itself. But what's really interesting this afternoon is, I mean, people. It's like people are coming out of the the shed, right? To tell me about corruption, and everybody wants me to know their form of corruption, their version of corruption. They know of corruption. They know corruption in their own personal lives, and stuff that they're tapped into. And I'm like, have you seen the con? And many of them at first are like, no, I haven't. And then many of them circle back after they watch the con, and they're like, you gotta fucking be kidding me. you know? And then we can talk on the same page, because people are all over the matrix because everybody's got something to say about something. I mean, that's how crazy this time period is. I mean, everything from COVID to, whatever your side of the political aisle is, and blame the others and this and that and that and this. And everybody's got a story. Everybody's got something, behind the curtain. And, yeah, the business of corruption is maddening, but it's not behind the curtain. It's in your face. You just don't know who's doing what and how they're doing it because you don't understand the system. Or I should say most of us don't. It's a learning process. I mean, look, I'm 53 years old. I've been around a long time. I've been in a lot of different situations. I've seen a lot go down. And, I get the gist of it. I understand how things are supposed to work. And that's why I had to go on a journey to find out why things don't work. And I get this call today. In addition to everybody telling me their brand of corruption and what they know and all the stuff they want me to learn from them, and then of course, it becomes a mutual, sort of, oh wow, that's interesting. Did you know this? and then the sparks fly eventually. And once I turn people, they're sold. They're all in, man. Once that happens, they're just like, you got to be kidding me, man. And you know, I get this phone call from this cat down in Texas. He's an older guy, and he's got a radio show or some kind of online show, and he sends me this stuff that's a little bit kind of freaking nuts. But I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'll try it and see what happens, right? So we go on, and the reason I did actually is because he said enough stuff that I am aware of, and that some of it made rational sense. And so I was like, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but at the same time, I was like, what the hell? If the guy's got an audience, he's done all these shows, he's willing to talk about certain things. I'm willing to, share my knowledge everywhere and anywhere I can. And so we get to talking, and it really becomes kind of like a one-dimensional conversation. Kind of like I'm having with you, but, on this show, and this guy's telling me everything that he knows, and he knows some stuff, but he doesn't know everything. And then he gets off in the weeds in some really Richter crazy ass shit. And I'm like, oh my God. So I had to kind of take control of the conversation. And surprisingly, I don't think this guy's ever had anybody kind of, overpower him. Which is funny to anybody who knows me, actually, because I'm pretty good at doing that. But I wrestled control away from the mic and I got my points in. And, there was like almost like a dead air silence after he was absorbing a lot of the stuff I was laying on him. And he was just like, he had this co-host that was like, oh my God, really? That's what's going on? And it was, so I think it was, somewhat effective. And then I had to like pull the ripcord and I had to bail out because I was like, I'm not going to go into Looneyville. But, I guess the point that I'm trying to say to you is, guys, thank you for so many of you that are, tuning in consistently. Those of you that have become on the same page. I don't know if I want to call you fans. You're not necessarily fans. You're supporters. You're people that are telling me, hey, man, keep it coming because, you're dropping truths that we've got to hear. And I am. And I'm like the only one who has this information. I'm not the only one who has the information, but I'm the one who has the complete story. And I'm actually the only one that's willing to talk about it. And that's because I made a television series and I've got so much more on the shelf that I want to bring to fruition. But it's a heavy duty climb, man. It's like I'm climbing up Mount Everest backwards with 1,000 pounds on my back and shoeless. I mean, this has been a journey from hell. And, but I'm making inroads, and that's good because momentum is what it's all about. And I just, I hope I can just urge you, and I hope I can convince you that, those of you who've come on board, please spread the gospel, man. Tell everybody and everywhere this cat knows what he's talking about, spread the con. For those of you who've seen the con, tell the world what you know of the con now. Tell the world of what this guy Patrick Lovell's trying to do, because I literally need to get hundreds of millions of people knowledgeable of how corruption has hijacked our incredible, great country. And I want it back, goddammit. And I need you and millions of you to join me. And together, we can help each other get to the promised land, man, because we need numbers. We need audience. We need vocal people. We need people that want to defeat the monster that has an absolute grip on control and operates behind the scenes in a way it's not genius, man. It really isn't. It's audacity. It's just a bunch of dumbass criminals, honestly. But the thing is that nobody would believe that they could get away with this. And that's what I used to be like until I started asking questions. Because I was like, this doesn't make sense. And now it does, completely. So thank you for the supporters. Thank you for, anybody who compares me to some sort of TV star, both good or bad. I could care less, but it's kind of interesting. Television star, film star, whatever the fuck, man. I don't care. I'm just Patrick Lovell. And I'm the dude who put together the largest criminal conspiracy and cover-up in history. And I've got the evidence, man. I've got the evidence that is absolute insanity. I made this, I'll finish up with this. I made this comparison. I think I said this earlier today. I mean, honestly, guys, what corruption is to us today is what, Hitler was to fascism and Stalin was to communism in the 20th century, and what bin Laden was at the turn of the century. They're that diabolical, and they're that dangerous, and they're a threat to everything, okay? And, this guy that I was talking to tonight, man, he's like, so what are you going to do about all this stuff? And I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm everywhere saying what I'm going to do every single day. We're going to freaking purge corruption. We got a plan. I've got all of the experts. I've got all the evidence. All I have to do is have the audience to know what we're talking about so they can look at, their favorite brand of, I was about to say comedian. That's funny. Because what I meant to say was politician. You can look at Obama and go, that dude's full of shit. You could look at Trump and go, that guy's insanely full of shit. You could look at Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren through a new light. They're not corrupt, but they're playing by the rules of the corrupt, and they've never done anything to be able to challenge corruption. Sorry, talking in platitudes without the specifics and bringing the heat, it is not going to go anywhere. And AOC and the squad, I mean, they're just like what? Cheerleaders? I mean, honestly, they haven't done anything that I'm aware of. At least not to the level of rising to the level of the madness of corruption that we've got to purge. And who's Patrick Lovell, man? I'm like the world's greatest freaking fastball thrower, and I'm bringing it tight and inside, and I'm throwing heat. I'm throwing heat every single freaking day, and I'm looking to freaking win. Do you guys want to win? Because this isn't a freaking polite game of academia at this point. It's corruption. And they've got complete control. And they can use the Federal Reserve to fuel their corruption, and nobody knows what they're doing except everybody that's in on it. And quite frankly, the top 10%, those that are smart enough to figure this shit out, they're not asking questions if they're making money. Like most people, if you're making money, you're not asking questions. You know, if you can like survive and get everything you want and go wherever you want and have what's the problem? You know, and a lot of people do that on credit. There are a lot of people that have got really good, portfolios, and they've made a lot of money during this bull run over the last 10 years, and they didn't get wiped out. And so they're kind of like, I don't get it. Maybe a bunch of people, got into loans that they couldn't afford. Maybe they were dumbasses and they were, financially unsophisticated. So, buyer beware. Shit happens. I know a lot of those people who feel that way. I'd probably be one of those people myself if I hadn't gone through it. And honestly, when it destroys your world and you look back and you start to figure out, well, wait a second, this isn't caveat emptor. Actually, it is caveat emptor. But it's not caveat emptor in terms of the victims, because they changed everything that were in the contracts, and then we had no idea the pipeline were the underwriters and the credit rating agencies and the lenders, and everybody was in on it. And the derivatives and the CDO salesmen, and they were all in on it. I've met a few of these high-level CDO guys, man. I know one of them. I coach football with him. This rich guy out of Atlanta. He's like swarmy as shit. He's smart as fuck, and he's incredibly, competitive. And he's a winner. He's a winner by cheating. And I know that. And he doesn't like me as much as he used to when he figured out that I knew what he was up to. There's a lot of rich people that you can blow holes in where it's like, how'd you earn your money? It's like, do we celebrate drug dealers and pimps? No. Do we celebrate con artists? No. They should all be in prison eventually if they get busted. That's what I was saying earlier today, and yesterday. It's like, I grew up where bad shit happened. Like, there was crime everywhere, right? But if you do big time freaking crimes, eventually the man comes down on you. But what I'm trying to tell you in this instance is the man ain't coming down on the machine because the machine owns the man. I don't know if that worked. It was pretty funny. Hey, I appreciate everything that you guys are bringing to the table right now. Please elevate what we're talking about here. Please elevate me. I'm the only one willing to go the distance, man. I'm going all the way. And thank you for all of those who are like, hey, this guy needs to go into witness protection and all that kind of stuff. Really? The government are the one that would want to rub me out. If anybody is going to put me in witness protection, it'd be like Putin. And by the way, Putin knocks off journalists and oligarchs as well. I think Putin killed like 3 oligarchs last week, right? And we got rid of Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Trump learned something from Putin. Am I afraid of those guys? I want them to be afraid of me. I want them to be afraid of us. If they take me out, fuck it, I'm all in. Honestly. You think I'm going to freaking cower and, bend my knee and kiss the ring of corruption? Hell no. I'm a freaking American, and I believe in liberty and justice for all, and I'm willing to go the distance to get it back. Who's with me? Onwards and upwards, my friends.